Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to National Cancer Center Singapore CanSurvive 2022 virtual celebration. I'm Po Fong and I'll be your MC for today. Before we begin, there are a few gentle reminders for your kind attention. All your mics are muted by default. If you have any questions, you may post it using the Q&A function found at the bottom of your screen here. We'll follow up with you after the event. Another reminder, please ask questions related to the topics only. Thank you. CanSurvive is National Cancer Center Singapore's signature cancer survivorship event. This year's theme is Revived Lives, Renewed Resilience. It reflects all the challenges that one has to overcome physically, mentally, and emotionally after a cancer diagnosis. And all these needs resilience, which allows you to withstand adversity, recover, and move forward. Through this event, we want to show our support for all our patients and survivors as they forge ahead with positivity. While life after cancer may be different and challenging, it can still be joyous and meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to invite our guest of honor, Professor William Huang, Chief Executive Officer, National Cancer Center Singapore, for the welcome address. Prof. Huang, please.
Thanks so much, Po Fong. Really appreciate it. I hope you can hear me. Sometimes I'm not very sure on Zoom, but anyway, really good morning to everyone. It is such a pleasure to be invited to open this CanSurvive event today. This is the 18th year that the National Cancer Center Singapore is holding this event to celebrate cancer survivors. Really a warm welcome to everyone and an especially warm hug to cancer patients in attendance today. You know, I was writing my opening speech for today and I started out with some nice words like, let's cancel cancer, or don't just survive, thrive. And then this week, I saw a patient holding back tears as she heard news about her diagnosis for the first time. A friend with cancer also said, why me? This is too hard for me to take. I then just decided to put these nice sounding words aside and told myself, cancer is tough. It is not a walk in the park, but a journey of 1,000 miles. And to the cancer patients in attendance today, I say, no one knows that better than you. And in that regard, surviving cancer is about all the small little things, the day-to-day things in life. For example, building strength, finding meaning, which Dr. Lee Boon Uy today will speak on. Simple things like eating well, which Ms. Lau Ziqing from the Singapore Cancer Society will touch on. Or when you try to think about how can I improve health and want to consider TCM, how can you use it safely, which Mr. Ricky Ang will speak on. And today's theme is Revived Lives and Renewed Resilience. Now, when I think of resilience, I'm reminded of the bamboo. It can bend, but it won't break. But actually, I'm also reminded of my glasses, which I don't have here today. I've got titanium frames, and good thing I do, because I've dropped my glasses, I bent my glasses, I sat on my glasses more times than I can remember. But for some reason, they always bounce back into shape despite my abuse. You know, survival is not about never falling or never bending, but always bouncing back. So I said that the cancer survivor's journey is a journey of 1,000 miles. But how do we take that journey of 1,000 miles? Really just put your right foot in front of your left, and then your left foot in front of right, and take one step at a time. To our patients, no one knows what a cancer patient goes through better than you. Not me, not the speakers today. It's you. What is your message to other cancer patients who are struggling? For that matter, what is your message to the rest of the world? Is it to treasure your life more? Is it to treasure your family and friends more? What hope and encouragement can you give? What difference can you make to the journey of future patients? So whether you have already bounced back or are still walking that 1,000-mile journey, think about making a difference to someone else today or in the days to come. Really thank you and have a wonderful event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Huang. We hope to be like bamboo or your titanium glasses to bounce back and get into shape. Definitely like today's team, we need resilience. Next, let's hear from our cancer survivors. They will share the stories of their diagnosis, treatment, and life after cancer. They will also be talking about their challenges and fears, and also review their strength, courage, and their resilience in their fight against cancer.
Hi, I'm Iriani Mohamad and I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer in February 2021 at age 40, which is last year. I was doing the breast self-examination test and I felt a tumor. I decided to see my company doctor the following day. So the doctor referred me to a further checks as she discovered a bump at that same area. But everything changed when I got the result of my biopsy. Surprisingly, I did not break down because perhaps the truth did not sink in yet. On my way home, I started thinking about how I should reveal this bad news to my partner and my 3 growing children. I was in a dilemma to actually tell them the truth or to hide it from everyone, especially with my middle child taking her PSLE examination the same year, which is last year. I had no choice but to hide it from her and my youngest child, which was only 10 years old. 30th March was the day for my DIP mastectomy surgery. A month later, I started my IV chemotherapy treatment at National Cancer Center for 16 cycles. And now I'm on oral medication, expecting for 5 years. Every single day had never been the same again after the surgery and chemotherapy. I felt more lethargic and weak most of the time now. So from someone who used to have so much energy to multitask to someone who can only do one task at a time. So this was not an easy reality for me to face. My greatest support pillars have always been my partner and my eldest son, as they both managed to take on most of the household. My girls will always be my emotional support, giving me positive vibes and positive words of encouragement. Eventually, I found ways to keep myself positive by going for motivational talks with my fellow breast cancer friends and spending time together to do activities like yoga and kayaking. Participating in these activities just put me up. I then realized that I can be a normal person again as I get adjusted to my new body and lowering my expectation in life. It is a new life for me as I look at things in a more positive way with faith, embracing each and every moment with my loved ones, which is the new me.
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm a cancer survivor. When I was 49 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 2 stomach cancer. There was a period I had a constant discomfort in my stomach. Then I went to a GP. She prescribed antibiotic to me. It seems that it works for a while, but the symptom came back very shortly. Then did a blood test for me. That after that, she suspected that I had stomach cancer. It was confirmed after referred to a specialist to do endoscopy. I was upset, of course, but not too surprised upon being diagnosed, as I was actually psychologically prepared for the worst scenario. In fact, I had stomach discomfort prior to the diagnosis for at least a year. Initially, I suspected that it could be stomach ulcer caused by stresses. When the diagnosis was confirmed, my surgeon operated my stomach and removed about 2/3 of my stomach, followed by 6 cycles of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy was very tough. There were days where I couldn't proceed with chemotherapy treatment due to a low white blood cell, and I have to take antibiotic. During that period, I lost about 20 kg and looks very frail. At times, I had eczema, which was itchy and hard to bear. Oh, I'm so lucky that my colleagues come forward to help me take care of my son, who was then only 9 years old. And another friend felt so sorry to see me suffer and then volunteered to come and help clean my house every weekend after finish the work. After the 4th cycle of chemotherapy, I asked my doctor to stop, as physically I felt very weak and was unable to cook. I took supplements and ensured I get fresh air, morning sun, and regular exercise. All the obstacles were overcome with lots of support and encouragement from my doctors, friends, and colleagues. I was working as a teacher. Even my students came to visit and send their love. As I got better, my doctor advised me to return to work, as I need to do something to see my value. And he was right. I went back to work until today. Teaching is still my passion. I continue to upgrade myself with courses. I've learned to cherish my relationship. My focus is on my son, where I'm the only one who support him in his study in visual art in US. For myself, I view life as enabling me to fulfill whatever can help me to grow spiritually. Teaching enables me to shower love and care to others. By radiating unconditional love and giving generously, I receive abundance in return. Have a positive mindset. We are what we eat. Apart from that, mental health is also very important part of our health. Take care of your mental health and you will reap the benefit of a sharper mind and healthier body.
Thank you, Arnie, and also thank you to Madam Ng for sharing their stories and words of wisdom. They're definitely an inspiration to us, and we can see that the support, the encouragement from the medical team, their family, their friends and colleagues are all very important. And of course, like what Madam Ng said, mental health is very important. So this morning, we're very privileged to invite Dr. Lee Boon Wee to share with us on building strength and finding meaning. Dr. Lee Boon Wee is a health psychologist and a senior lecturer at the National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University. Besides teaching and research, he has maintained an active private practice where he works with a wide range of people with emotional distress. Since year 2000, he has provided consultation at the Department of Psychosocial Oncology, National Cancer Center, Singapore. Dr. Lee helps patients and their families cope with cancer in terms of adjustments, emotional distress, and physical symptoms. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Lee Boon Wee. Dr. Lee, please.
Good morning to all of you. I hope that you're all doing well. Thank you for inviting me here to give a talk, and also for all of you taking time to attend my session on building strengths and finding meaning. I hope my session will not only benefit cancer patients, but also there are caregivers, family members, friends who can be equally stressed as well. If you're unfortunately diagnosed with cancer and have to go through treatments, you may feel stressed, depressed, anxious, fearful, or angry. Having these emotional reactions are very common and natural because I don't think that no one wants to get sick, in particular having cancer. But although feeling stressed, depressed, anxious, fearful, or angry is normal, common, and natural, we have to do something about that so that all this emotional distress will not become more serious in the long run, and develop into more serious mental disorders and compromise your quality of life. For instance, if we skip our meals, if we don't eat, we'll feel hungry, and hunger is a normal reaction. But that doesn't mean that we have to ignore the hunger, because you may feel tired and may have gastric problems in the long run. So that is why that it is very important for us to learn how to cope with the emotional distress by building strengths and finding meanings when you are continually suffering from your illness and the treatments and so on. Here the question is how to build strengths and find meanings when you are diagnosed with cancer and you have to go through treatments. Over the past 20 years in my work with cancer patients, I have developed a model, a self-help model to help cancer patients to cope with their distress. I call this as BEST. There's nothing mysterious for this word BEST. So I just want to help my cancer patients to remember. If you find this acronym is not cool enough, you can call it whatever way that you like. BEST actually consists of four components. B stands for breathing calmly. E means engaging in life. S means sharing with someone, and T meaning thinking positively. Let me go through this. So each of these components in details. As I mentioned earlier on, feeling emotionally distressed is very, very common and natural. And when we are feeling stressed, anxious, or fearful, it is not just psychological reaction. It is not just emotion. There are corresponding changes in the body. For instance, your heartbeat may become faster. Your blood pressure may rise. There may be some hormonal changes or some biochemical changes in the body. You may or may not be aware of these changes. But as I said before, is that although these psychophysiological responses are normal and common, we shouldn't ignore these changes, because in the long run, so all these emotional reactions or some bodily changes may lead to some much more serious kind of consequences. For instance, if you're constantly under stress because of your diagnosis, because of your treatments, it may compromise your immune functioning. And immunity is a very important defense mechanism for cancer patients. So that is why that we have to learn how to keep ourselves calm whenever that we feel stressed or anxious because of our diagnosis and treatments. And so I think that some of you might have already done something in order to relax yourself. Now, all this relaxation training is very important because you do it intentionally and voluntarily in order to reverse the psychophysiological changes in the body, such as to reduce your, to slow down your heartbeat, and then to reduce your blood pressure, and then even to manage your stress hormone in your body. And so what I'm going to teach you today is this very simple breathing exercise. Now, breathing is actually an indicator of your emotional reaction. Whenever that we feel stressed or anxious, we tend to breathe very fast, like this. Even when we strike total, we also tend to and then you have to tend to breathe very fast. So we have to reverse by learning to breathe slowly, so as to bring down all these psychophysiological responses. Now, this exercise will not take you much time, maybe just about 1 to 3 or maybe even 10 minutes per day. So what you need to do is if this is the first time that you do any form of relaxation training, including the exercise that I'm going to share with you now, you need to find a quiet place in private so that you can concentrate on this exercise. Because if you're doing this on the train, or maybe in a restaurant, or maybe outside, you may be easily distracted. Then you'll not be able to calm yourself down. So once you find a quiet place, and then close your eyes. Closing your eyes will help you to concentrate inward, to pay more attention to your relaxation sensation, so that whenever that you need this relaxation sensation, you can activate this sensation quickly. So what you need to do for the step one is concentrate on taking breaths right down to your stomach, which means that whenever that you breathe in, you push out your stomach. And then whenever you breathe out, you sink in your stomach. So this is to involve the stomach or the diaphragm when you want to breathe in slowly. And then keep your breathing smooth and fluid. Smooth, regular, rhythmic, don't rush it, and then has to be regular. Okay, slowly. And after that, start to count on your inhalations, which means that whenever that you breathe in, think or say to yourself quietly the word one to yourself. And when breathe out, think the word or say to yourself quietly, relaxed. Then think two on your next breath in and relaxed on the breath out. And continue this up to around 10 and then go back to 1. So 1 all the way to 10. And focus only on your breathing and the word. There's nothing mysterious about counting. It is just simply helping you to stay focused. And focusing on the breath, as I mentioned before, right? Because whenever that we feel stressed or anxious, we tend to breathe very fast. So we intentionally and voluntarily to slow down the breath, to teach our brain to do something about our body. But because that our mind is not like a machine, and so when you do this exercise, the chances for your mind to wander are very, very high. And so what you really need to do is just simply refocus on your breath and the word. So this is another reason why you need to do the counting, is to help you to stay focused. Okay, right? So let me just bring you through to help you to try out this exercise. And then after the talk, if you like, you can just do it on your own. If you are attending my talk on the train right now, or maybe driving, don't do that. So don't do this exercise while you're driving, or when even if you're cooking, or you're chopping some meat, so don't do this exercise, otherwise so you cut your finger. Okay, if you are alone right now in the room, so that would be better. Close your eyes. If you find it very uncomfortable to close your eyes due to whatever reason, look forward and find a spot. Well, it can be anything. Maybe the camera on your laptop right now, or maybe a letter on your keyboard, or maybe something on the wall in front of you. So just look at it. Okay. If not, then you just close your eyes. Focus inward. Okay, so just focus inward and close your eyes and breathe in very slowly and say to yourself, one, and breathe out slowly, say to yourself, relax, or anything. So any word that makes you meaningful or makes you feel peaceful. And then 2, and relax. Okay, do it on your own pace. Don't rush. And breathe in very slowly and breathe out very slowly. Breathing is not a tournament, no competition, and just take your time. On your own pace, whenever they breathe in, count. Whenever they breathe out, say to yourself, relax. Whenever that you find that your breathing becomes very slow and you need just a little bit air, that means you're becoming much more relaxed. Whenever that your mind wanders, refocus on your counting and your breath. Okay, go ahead. Just for about 1 minute or so. Okay, let's stop here. So we cannot just continue through this exercise, otherwise they will be here until noon. And so I hope that you have a chance to practice this, to try this out. And now some of you may find it helpful. And if you don't find it helpful, so just waste your 1 or 2 minutes of time, yeah. But try to do it to see the effects. Even when you do physical exercise, it takes a few weeks to see the effect of the physical exercise on your health. And the idea here is that try to do as much as you can, especially when you're not stressed. Don't so if you are a newcomer to this breathing exercise, don't just do it when you feel stressed, because that would be a bit too late. For instance, so we will never learn how to swim when we are drowned, because we will be too overwhelmed by our anxiety and our fear. And so do this when you're not stressed, so that when you are stressed, you can do this, and then you can bring this out this exercise much more easily. Try to do twice per day. One during daytime, another one maybe before sleep. For those of you who have sleeping difficulty, you can do this by lying down on your bed. But remember that if you can go to sleep when doing this exercise, don't wake yourself up even if you have not counted to 10. Then just give yourself a chance to go to sleep. So you'll see later that this breathing exercise, especially the counting, the breath, will be very, very helpful for those of you who are especially having rumination, having negative thoughts, especially during nighttime. Okay, I'll talk more about this rumination later. Let me So learning to keep ourselves calm is definitely very important. Another thing is much more broader in the sense that you need to engage in life. So I think that some of you have listened to the video clip about the cancer patient's story just now. And so what really commonly found in these two video clips that you have seen just now are actually learning to engage in life. Engaging in life is actually to do something that you feel meaningful and pleasurable, something that you're really interested in. And you shouldn't do something that you're not interested in, because that will make you very frustrated. So many of my cancer patients, they learn to do flower arrangement. They learn computer. They learn calligraphy, art, music, or even attending a music lesson, singing lesson, and so on. And so they all feel very meaningful and purposeful. And then, okay, so the idea of doing all these exercises, activities are not trying to achieve something, for instance, to get a job, and so on, but it is actually to help you to become happier. I mean, to help you to think life is much more meaningful, because some of my cancer patients don't find meaningful when they feel, and then when they're being diagnosed, when they have to go through the pain and the fatigue and all kinds of side effects as a result of the cancer treatment. So engaging in life can also help you to focus on the present. Now for people who are very anxious, they tend to focus on the future. For instance, whether the chemotherapy works for me, and then whether I'm going to have relapse, and so on. And focusing on the present can also help to manage a depressive feeling, because whenever we feel depressed, we tend to focus in the past, how good we were before we got the cancer, and how good we were, whenever that in the past before having cancer, and so on. So by focusing on the present will help you to really to treasure whatever thing that you have with your families, and then with something that you're still having. Now, as I said before, is that having cancer is not really an enjoyable thing. And so remember that life is more than just having cancer. So this is why that engaging in life, especially other aspects of life that you feel very meaningful, will help you to promote a good sense of quality of life. And also try to engage in physical activities to boost your energy, because exercises have been found to be very good at lowering down or to manage the depressive feelings. Apart from that, try to sleep and rest and eat well, as far as your physical body permits. And most importantly, when you want to find an activity to engage in, focus on what you are able to do rather than what you're unable to do. Plan for what you intend to do rather than what you used to do in the past. Because of your cancer, because of the treatment, there may be some changes to your body. For instance, you may become very tired. You may have low energy, you may have pain, or maybe after going through surgery, you'll not be able to do what you used to do in the past. For instance, if you used to run 5 kilometers in the past, but now you no longer do that. So don't force yourself. And so for people who insist on doing something that they used to do, but now they cannot do, they will slip into depression very easily. So you have to adjust your life and then to do something differently so that you can journey through this illness much more effectively. Of course, when you're trying to engage in a life, you have a choice. You can do it on your own, and then you can, but you can also do it together with somebody else. So sharing your life or your emotions with someone else is a very important coping method when you're having cancer. And we are all social beings. We need to connect to other people, and always remember that they're out there. There are people who are empathizing with you. They are caring, and so they are supporting you, and so on. So it is very important for you to spend quality time with your loved ones, your friends, your relatives, your colleagues. The best way is to maintain contact with them in person, going out with them. Don't stay at home so often if your health permits. But let's say if it is if physically find it difficult to go out, for instance, your immune functioning is low, and then you do not want to get infected when you're outside. With the advancement in technology, you can maintain contact with your friends through social media such as IG, Facebook, or maybe using Zoom or Skype, and in whatever way to stay connected. And then by staying connected, you know that you're not alone. This is very important, because otherwise you're very lonely, and then you become very depressed. And whenever that you feel stressed, as I mentioned earlier on, having emotional distress is very common and natural. Don't keep it. Don't keep this emotional distress. Of course, you can shake it out by taking part in physical activities, by doing something that you're interested in. But sometimes you may also need to share your emotion and stress with someone that you love and someone that you trust. Because if you don't do that, because our mind is something like a pressure cooker. So if you keep on accumulating all this emotional distress, it may explode one day. And so that will not be so good to your mental health and to your physical health. And so what you really need is a listening ear, rather than just a solution. Now for those of you who are attending my talk right now, if you're a caregiver, if you're friends of someone who has cancer, and it is very important for you to lend a listening ear to someone who has cancer. And what I mean listening ear really means listening, and then try to keep advice to the minimum, because sometimes so cancer patients really just need you to listen. It's not they do not really want you to give them a lecture to teach them what to do. For instance, by giving moral advice, for instance, don't think too much, you're okay, and then you'll get well soon, and so on. And sometimes it can be very frustrating, because they may, so cancer patient may tell you that, hey, I mean that you're not me, and then you do not know how bad that my illness is, how bad my treatments are, and so on. So you just need to give time, just listen without really giving a lot of moral advice, and so on. So in fact, so some cancer patients find it very frustrated, because that they are given, they are given a lot of conflicting information, a lot of like too much information. Then they suffer what we call the information overloading. Okay. So let me move on to to the last point, which is about the thinking positively, which is the most difficult part, because thinking positively is important, yet it is a very difficult part to do, because a lot of us cannot really control our thinking. For instance, if I ask you not to think anything, you find it very difficult, because our mind tends to wander, and then we tend to focus on something. Even I'm sure that now, even though that you're attending my talk, you may be thinking about something that they're going to do later, and then maybe a party they're going to attend in this evening, or maybe a dinner they're going to cook later. So, but yet, I mean that thinking is a very, very important part in our journey, in coping with distress. So a lot of cancer patients tend to think a lot. They have a lot of negative thoughts about what will happen to them, especially whether they will have relapse, and then whether they will die, and what will happen to them. Okay, so let's say if they die, what will happen to their children, and so on. And so they have a tendency to ruminate, thinking a lot. And one of the sort of features of rumination is spiral down thinking. And they have a tendency to, and then to think the worst scenario. For instance, so a cancer patient may say something like that. Oh, so now I'm having cancer. Am I going to die? If I die, what will happen to my family members? And then my children are still young, and who will be taking care of them? And would they have a good life in the future? And so if they do not have a mother or father to take care of them, and then would they end up having their own problem? They will not be able to focus on their study. Will they be able to get a job? And then will they get a good marriage in the future? And what will happen? Let's say, so if my cancer is genetic, and then will it pass down to my children, and so on. This is kind of a spiral down thinking. And then the more that you think about that, the more you become anxious, the more fearful that you become. So that is why that learning how to think positively is a very important part, yet it is a very difficult part. And so as I mentioned earlier on, is that so for cancer patient, I'm sure that so some of your friends and caregivers might have already advised you to think very positively. And so it is not easy to think positively, and it is easier said than done. And so that is why that you may have to try to think positively, try to be optimistic, try to accept your illness, and try to engage in positive self-talk. And learning to think positively may take many, many days, many, many months, or even a few years. So it is a journey, it is a process. It is not today you tell yourself to think positively, and then tomorrow you become positive. Even if you can think very positively over the next 1 week, and but before your treatment, and then or maybe while you're waiting for your medical results, or maybe before your surgery, and then you'll be down again, and then you become negative in thinking. Always remember that the way that we think will shape the way that we feel. When we're thinking negatively, we'll tend to feel very negatively. And then when we feel very negatively, we'll tend to think very negatively. Then all these things will have an impact on our body. So all these things are interrelated, and they will work in a vicious cycle. So so learning how to breathe calmly will help you to think positively. And then when you tend to think positively, then you become calmer in your emotion, and that will have a positive effect on your body. Then you keep your body healthy. Your BP will become lower, and then your breathing will become slower, and then you'll feel much more healthier. Okay, right? Now, thinking less is not the same as escaping or suppressing your thoughts. You have to become aware of your negative thoughts so that you can replace it with much more positive thoughts. So just now what you heard from the two video clips, right? So the two ladies actually shared with you a lot about their positive thinking. And so by thinking positively, that will help them to feel much more happier and calmer and so on. So just to recap, so learn how to breathe calmly, and then to do something meaningfully. So this is to engage in life, and share with someone to build up a good social support, and then to think positively. Okay, so I hope that my session has benefited you, and so try your best, and then do something that you like, and then to think more positively. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Definitely, your sharing has benefited all of us, not just for cancer survivors, but also caregivers, family, friends, and also actually generally for anyone, like the best way, the self-help module, for example, the relaxation, the breathing exercises, which we can do daily as well. Coming up next, we have the next speaker, Mr. Ricky Ang. He will share with us on safe use of TCM for cancer patients. Mr. Ricky Ang is currently a pharmacist with National Cancer Center Singapore, NCCS. In year 2001, he studied part-time TCM and obtained his diploma from the Singapore College of Traditional Chinese Medicine in year 2008. He furthered his TCM studies and received his master's from Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine, NJUCM, in year 2011. In the same year, Mr. Ang completed a one-year residency program in hematology oncology pharmacist practice from NUS and also obtained his board-certified oncology pharmacist BCOP certificate. In year 2014, he obtained his PhD TCM from NJUCM. Currently, Mr. Ang is a volunteer TCM practitioner in a charity organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ricky Ang. Mr. Ang, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, can. Let me share my slide. Okay, hi. Okay, without further ado, without further delay, I will start the session now. Thank you, the organizer, for inviting me to share some advice on TCM, safe use of TCM. Yeah, so today I will talk briefly on safe use of TCM, and also I understand that in fact, most of the participants are cancer survivor. Then maybe I'll talk some about some TCM like food therapy, 食疗, how you can use food therapy, okay, for your own care, all right. So without further delay, I'll start now. Okay, so 中医, right, TCM have been around for many years, so can be as long as 3,000 years. Okay, the essence of TCM, right, basically is to restore the yin-yang equilibrium. This is just one of the theory. There are many theories in TCM. This is one of the basic theory. Okay, I will illustrate this, okay, using some models. Okay, so a normal person, when he is well, right, the yin and yang is balanced. Okay, but this yin and yang balance can be disturbed by internal or external factors. Okay, so what are internal or external factors? Example, internal factors will be things like now maybe it's the durian or mango seasons. You eat a lot of mango, eat a lot of durian. Then what happens? Some people may experience sore throat, maybe pimples, maybe ulcers. No, this one because durian and mangoes, they are well known to be heaty in Chinese, like cheese and heaty. So all this heatiness disrupt your yin and yang balance. Okay, so you may have all those symptoms that I mentioned just now. External factors could be things like, for example, now is outside, let's say it's very sunny, you go for a jog, then after that your whole body is sweating, right? Then immediately, wow, you say very hot. Then you quickly run to the shower room and take a cold shower. Yeah, so people will say in dialect, we will say 感冒, right? 感冒, 感冒. So this is why does this happen? If we explain in the layman term, we say that because your sweat pores are open, and then you never allow the sweat pore to close. So you immediately take a cold shower, cold water and cold air enter your body through the sweat pores, and that's why you got sick. And that's how your yin and yang balance is disturbed. Okay. So once you have all this imbalance, you can either see a Western doctor or see a Chinese and say TCM, right? So in TCM, right, we will use various methods to treat you. So what do we use? Okay, so before that, okay, this is some of the methods. We can use Tui Na, okay, we can ask you to learn some Qi Gong, okay, acupuncture, and 中药. Some of them you all like to eat 中药. Nowadays 中药 is very modern, come in pills, tablet, and sometimes some medical hall actually offer to boil for you the herb. They boil for you, then they send to your house even. All right, then you just take them as and when you need, come in the packet sachets form. And this is food therapy 食疗, which I later will talk a bit more on it. Okay, so yin and yang, right? A fast one. So what is yin and what is yang? Yin will be things like usually we associate things like darkness, cool, water, as yin. Yang will be like fire, sunshine, heatiness, moving, active, passionate. All these are associated with yang. So this person now is healthy. Yin and yang is balanced. Okay, so can you look at this picture here? I call this yang kang or yang in excess. Okay, what you can see here is you can see that the yin is normal, but the yang is more. So this person could have been eating a lot of curries, spices, durian, chocolate. That's why the yang is now more. So this person is sick. So yang more means what symptoms do you think the person will have? The person will have things like fever, sore throat, maybe constipation, maybe pimples. Okay, and now please look at this bottom right diagram. You can see the red color, the yang is balanced. It's actually normal, but the yin is less. So the yin is less, but what's the next result? Can you see that the next result is the yang looks more, right? If compared with this, the result of this yang in excess, the yang is more. Here, the yang is also more. But the reason is not because the yang is small, but because the yin is less. So this is what we call yin deficient, yin shi. But these two persons will experience the same symptom like sore throat, fever, maybe constipation. So how did this happen? Yin deficient, this person could be burning a lot of midnight oil, maybe exam is coming, okay? So don't have enough sleep. And so that's use up a lot of the yin in the body. So how do I explain this to the patient? For cancer patient, usually I would say your body is like a desert. It's dry. There's no water. It's dry, hot and dry. Okay. So what sort of cancer patient actually present this kind of symptoms? Many times I've come across are those patients on steroids and also on radiotherapy. All right, and they tend to present with this kind of syndromes. Then this is really fever. What kind? Could be a patient really having an infection or having malignant fever. Okay, yeah. So that's why the yang is small. So in TCM, how do we treat them? Okay, we give them different treatment because the cost is different. So for this fire extinguisher, it's only effective for this fire, the yang in excess. So for this desert, right, this fire extinguisher doesn't work at all. You have to use water. Okay, so that's why we use different treatment to treat these different symptoms or syndromes. So now you can see right now I have two Chinese preparation here, Chinese herb here. This is Ling Yang, the antelope's horn, and this is your water lily bulb, your water pear, white fungus, carrot or papaya, and then maybe some rock sugar inside this dessert. So for patient with this kind of yin deficient, right, actually what they need is more of this yin-rich food or yin-rich medicine. Pear, lily bulb, all these are rich in yin and same as the white fungus. So it's effective for this person. For this person, right, of course can eat this one, but not as effective. What this person needs is actually the antelope's horn, the Ling Yang, because Ling Yang can actually remove the extra yang. This dessert can actually top up the yin. So after taking all this, right, the yin and yang should be balanced. This is just a short illustration. Why do cancer patients use TCM? There are many reasons. Some things that can prevent relapse or recurrence, reduce the side effect, improve the overall effectiveness, strengthen the body to fight cancer, and can be used as an alternative treatment and improve quality of life. All right. Frankly speaking, over here, I mean not over here. My personal view is, it should not be used as an alternative treatment. So if the doctor says you can use treatment like chemo or this, I think you should go for it. Yeah, all right. Because we have trials and data to show that they're effective. Okay, unless you have exhausted many treatment, then there's no more alternative. Then maybe you can think of this using as an alternative treatment, or you can think of it as a complementary treatment, but not as an alternative treatment. Okay, so the TCM, right, we also talk about syndromes and disease. Okay, so for syndromes, right, we diagnose the syndromes. Right? That's why we need to see the pulse, we feel the pulse, we see the tongue. All right, and then this is diagnosed disease, 变病, and this 变症. 变病, right, is the modern method. Why do you say this is a modern method? That means, right, for example, right, we can have 10 cancer patients in front, all are having, let's say, lung cancer or breast cancer. This is called diseased. But all these 10 cancer patients, right, they will have different tongue, different paths, you know. And that's why when they see TCM, right, TCM will give them different herbs based on their syndromes. But they can give the same herb based on the same cancer. For example, right, some herbs have been shown to be effective against, for example, lung cancer. So all these 10 lung cancer patients can be given this particular herb. For example, maybe 白花蛇舌草 or some other herbs that's effective against the cancer. But we add on different herbs to treat their different syndromes. Some of them, because cannot sleep well, maybe their ink is not enough. Some people, their hands feel cold, legs feel cold because the yang is not enough. So all this we see from the tongue, we see from their pulse, and then we give the herb accordingly. So you see, all these 3 people can have the same cancer, can be same lung cancer or same breast cancer or same colon cancer, but they have different tongues. Different kind of tongues, yeah. So from this tongue, right, one look, right, as TCM, we know that, oh, this is what kind of syndrome, what they are suitable, what they are not suitable. For example, we look at this center tongue, right. This kind of tongue, right, you can see the we call this the coating or the 舌苔. You can see the coating is pretty yellow and very thick. So this person is actually quite heaty and the digestive system is no good. So this person, right, if actually if this person go and take a lot of tonic, like ginseng, what 人参, 党参, all these things, it's actually doing more harm because the body, the digestive system is very bad, cannot process all the tonic. What this person needs is to improve the digestive system. Okay, so for this person on the left, you can see that the tongue is a bit big, like water retention, like swollen, and there's no coating at all. This person actually needs a bit of because this person is a bit 气虚, a bit weak in qi. Yeah, so this person can take things like 人参a bit, ginseng a bit, 党参a bit, all right, but not for this center person. So you see that different, same cancer but different syndromes. So they will need different kind of treatments. Okay, so one of the concern about safe use of TCM, right, in cancer patients is you are concerned with if you are having chemo and then you take the herbs, right, will they fight or not? Doctors are concerned, you may be concerned, okay? Many times when you see Chinese sensei, right, what will Chinese sensei tell you? They say, oh, it's okay lah, you space up 2 hours apart, or it's okay lah, you 2 or 3 days later your chemo finish, then you take the Chinese medicine. Is it really safe or not? All right. So we look at this picture. Imagine this is your Chinese medicine, this is a Western treatment. Now we are assuming oral drug. Oral means 口服药 oral drug, oral chemo drug, and oral TCM. So when we say 2 hours later, then what does it mean? This is your stomach, okay? So 2 hours later, what it means that if you take either one, you can take your oral chemo first, or you take the TCM, right? What we are telling you is 2 hours later means they don't meet in the stomach. That means you take one first, one will actually pass through your 12指肠, your small intestine. And so 2 hours later, right, they won't meet. They won't meet 2 hours later because one of them is already in the small intestine. But what happens after the 2 hours or 3 hours, 4 hours? Your body will absorb, they will go under your blood circulation, absorbed by the big intestine, and then they'll be absorbed through your system, and so they will meet in your system somehow. Okay. So we have this concern that what happens if the herb and the drug really fight, and then they will fight in your system. And this is another concept of why some doctors are very concerned with let's say you're taking TCM or some supplements that may interfere with your chemotherapy. This is just a thought, a theory, not really proven, but just a theory that we are concerned with. So this is your cancer cells, which we don't want. This is your normal cells that is good, that we want. So your normal cells can be your intestine, your mouth, your oral cavity, your nerves, they can be your bone marrow. So what happens when you are given chemotherapy? Why do you have side effects when you have chemotherapy? It's because the chemotherapy, right, is like a tank. Can you imagine that your body, you let a tank enters your body, and then the tank will fire one shot, right? And so this tank fire one shot, right? You hit the cancer cells, which we are happy, right? Happy it hits the cancer cells, the cancer gone. But it doesn't stop there. It also hit the normal cells. Once your normal cells are being hit or injured, right? That's how you get the side effects. If you hit your nerve, you have numbness. Hit your mouth, you have ulcers. Hit your bone marrow, your blood cell will drop. All right. So what is the concern here? What we are concerned if is it possible? Sometimes nowadays, right? You go take supplement, take Chinese medicine. They say, oh, this one will improve your immunity. 不要 tonic immunity. But how you know that this immunity doesn't make your cancer cells immune, make your cancer cells more strong? They never tell you. We don't know because we never tried. We never do study. We never test. So imagine one day, right? If there's something that you take, if something you take, right, happens to protect your cells from the chemotherapy, which is this tank here, that means you don't have side effect. You feel good, you know. I don't have side effects. But how about your cancer cells? Are they being killed? You're also not sure, right? Because your cancer cells are not affected. Sorry, your normal cells are not affected. So there may be a chance that your cancer cells are not affected also. Yeah. So that's why we discourage patients on chemotherapy taking supplements or TCM. We are concerned of this. Of course, this is the ideal situation. You have some supplements, some TCM that can actually protect your normal cells, but doesn't protect a cancer cell. This is the ideal situation. But unfortunately, I don't think there's one supplement or one TCM that's so good that can do this. All right, so this is one common FAQ, frequently asked question is, can I take chemotherapy? Can I take TCM during chemo or take supplement? It really depends. If your chemotherapy, the doctor tell you is for curative. Curative means what? Means what? You know, some of you, right, you all have after surgery go for chemo. Why is it that after surgery you have to go for chemo? Because after surgery, right, we do not know whether when the doctor cut out your cancer, are there small tiny cells that are already spread to your other body parts of the body? We don't know. Even the PET scan, all this might not pick up that one cancer cell. So we give you chemotherapy. Those kind of chemotherapy, we give you a fixed number of cycles. For example, for 4 cycles, for 6 cycles, 6 one. Those are the intentions for cure. So for this kind of curative chemo, right, we will say, take chemo, go for the chemo first. After your 6 cycles, 8 cycles, then you take the TCM. All right. Because we are also afraid that the supplement of TCM may affect your chemotherapy, and hence the interaction, right, and hence to make your chemotherapy not effective, and so your risk of relapse or recurrence may be high. And also, we also do not know whether the TCM plus the cancer therapy together, right, will it cause more side effect or not? You know why? Because your liver, right, works very hard to metabolize, to detoxify the chemo, and they may also need to detoxify your Chinese herb or your supplements. Although they are herbs, natural, but they are still medicine. So your body, your kidney, your liver have to work very hard, and so they may be stressed. All right. So there are some patients I've come across, they insist of taking TCM during chemo. So what do I say? Or what's my advice? My advice is, okay lah, since you insist, right, you take and then you observe for any abnormal side effects or abnormal symptoms, like what, maybe bleeding, maybe a lot of diarrhea, or maybe skin rashes. This I have to observe. Okay, so this is my advice to them. So actually, I'm more for food therapy, meaning food therapy, right? They are also TCM, but the way we use them as food. And so far, I've interviewed some doctors. In fact, none of the doctors I interviewed, they say no to food therapy. Because all this food therapy, right, if you can find in kopitiam, okay, I mean, hawker center, right, nobody classifies them as medicine. We classify them as food. And they're actually of benefits to you. All right, so this, for example, things like red dates, Huaishan, Fuling, this is Liu Bangzi. This is the Liu Bangzi, I think it's called Sibatong. Okay, this is your Ba Bao Zhou, this is your black bean with some meat, okay, and some bones, okay, and this is your Rou Gu Cha. All these are very good forms of food therapy that one can consider even when you're having your chemo. All right, so red dates is good for to help maybe overcome your anemia. And this Huaishan is also called your wild yam. Actually, it helps to help with digestion. And this Fuling is a diuretic, can help you if you after chemo you have a bit of water retention. It helps. And this is Liu Bangzi. Liu Bangzi is a natural, it's a rich source of multivitamins, general. It's a good source. You can use this macam like your jiangyu zai, you know, your ikan bilis as a soup base, okay? And then this pulp also very nutritious. There's all the beans, all the good grains inside. Black bean in TCM is to nourish your kidney, to make more, to strengthen your bone marrow. All right, and beans also is rich in protein. Yeah, and then this is 肉骨茶. 肉骨茶 has quite a few herbs inside, but all in small quantity. It's good for patients, especially when they are after chemo, they feel weak, feel lethargic, feel cold, hands and leg cold. Yeah, 肉骨茶 is quite good. It's quite a good recommendation. Okay. And this is your 六味汤, you know, 六味汤, you can do it. You can actually, when you go to eat cheng teng, right, some of the cheng teng actually include some of these ingredients here. You can go to you can go to Yao Cai Medical Hall, NTUC, Cold Storage, Giant, right? Those dried food store and dried food area, they have 六味汤, but depends on which manufacturer, which supplier they order from. They have different variation, but doesn't matter, more or less the same. You can cook them as if you're cooking, making them into dessert, or you can make them into soup also. 六味汤 is good in the sense that it's very bland in the sense that it's not heaty, not cooling, so it's good for all kind of cancer patients. Even normal people can eat. All right. When I say good, means good for what? It's good for digestion. Okay, good for digestion. It has barley. It also helps to prevent, reduce retention. And Fuling and Huaisan, all this help to, and this Qianshi, and this is your water lily, this is your Lianzi, the lotus seed, and all this help to improve your digestion. All right. Another popular question is, can I go for tweener or acupuncture while you're on chemotherapy? No? Okay, this one you have to see or have to take note. So if you have, sometimes we have patients on chemotherapy or cancer, right? They may have what we call deep vein thrombosis. You know, one feet or one leg is one lower limb is swollen, and it's because of the blood clot. And some patients may not know it's actually blood clot. They thought it's what, then they go for tweener acupuncture. And this can be serious, because what happens if the person tweet for you, massage for you, and then the clot gets dislodged. And then you may get blocked somewhere, then have like embolism, that is get worse. Okay, and for this person who have this, you can see the limb is swollen due to the removal of the lymph node after breast cancer surgery. So this kind of symptom, right? I mean, this kind of thing should not go for acupuncture, because the blood circulation is very poor and risk of infection is there. So for this one, massage is okay. Okay, so if you, in general, massage, I think is okay. Go for light massage. Don't go for those deep sports massages or too much. In case your blood platelet is low, right, then they do massage, then you may bleed. So very light one. Later I'll show you a few points you can try on yourself. Okay, those light massage is okay. I repeat, light massage. Okay, for example, this Shou San Li. You can Google this point called Shou San Li. Okay, this one is beneficial for people who have numbness after chemo, all right, or neck ache. And this is also Shou San Li. You can press, and then you can turn clockwise and clockwise, up, down, left, right, doesn't matter. As long as you feel that kind of 酸酸胀胀的 feeling. And one, this is called 合谷穴. 合谷穴 is pretty good for if you have, let's say, nausea, vomiting, headaches, neck ache. Yeah, you can try this acupoint. All right. And if you have indigestion after chemo, or feel bloatedness, or constipation, or diarrhea, right? This point is called Zhu San Li. It's a very popular point by the Japanese use a lot of this point, Zhu San Li, to massage. Okay, and sometimes they use the motivation, but I don't recommend you use the eye tail, right? Because you'll burn yourself. But sometimes they even use the light, like those infrared light to shine on this point, Zhu San Li. So this Zhu San Li is good for, it's so-called, it's beneficial for all kind of digestive problems function. Okay, then if you have nausea, vomiting, you can try this point called 内关. Okay, 内关穴. Okay, you all can Google where's this point, and then you can press. It helps with insomnia, it can help with nausea, vomiting. All right. Okay, is 当归 safe for breast cancer patient? Okay, it really depends, because some of the breast cancer patient, if they have this hormone sensitive receptors, right? Then usually we ask them best don't take tang kui. But if you go to eat bak kut teh, right? Bak kut teh contains small percentage of tang kui. Those are okay because they're not concentrated. But I will discourage, you know, you're taking all this kind of concentrated tang kui, you know, or tong kwai root lah. Yeah, as a supplement. And some cancer patient, please take note, if you have all this blister, please see a doctor because they might be shingles, okay? And shingles means what? Means your immunity is pretty poor. And please see a Western doctor because Chinese medicine may not be that effective. But of course, after seeing the Western doctor, if you still have the residual side effects like like pain or this, of course, TCM will help. And also some people, once they're diagnosed with cancer, they suddenly change diet, no? All becomes all the fruits, veggie, ABC. What happens is, you know, too much of this ABC, right? Too much vitamin A, you look at their palm becomes yellow, and too much like cooling thing like coconut or this thing, right? They may have high potassium, and some of them actually complain of diarrhea after that because some chemo can actually cause diarrhea. All right, so it's important to maintain a balanced diet. Meaning, you know, for TCM, we say 中医嘛, 中 means center. So we discourage extreme flavor, meaning we don't encourage you to take a very spicy, very salty, very sweet, very sour, very hot, very cold. Everything should be not so extreme lah. If those people are smoking, should quit smoking, exercise, and then try to maintain healthy weight. And sleep is important. Sleep and rest is important. Try to have sufficient sleep and rest lah. And Zhongyi not only asking to eat, you know, TCM not just eat, you also should exercise, I mentioned just now. So you should engage, try to engage in some form of light exercises, you know, like Qigong or Tai Chi, or even a morning brisk walk is good. Okay, so this is also part of TCM in the sense that we say food therapy. We are not only asking you to take certain food therapy, but asking you to cut down on certain food. But I say cut down, I never say avoid, because some people avoid, they feel very depressed, feel lousy, feel horrible. If you want to eat, just go ahead and eat. Just that if you can cut down, you cut down lah. Okay, this kind of food is very hard to digest. Okay, it actually disrupts your digestive system, and so it not too healthy. Like you can eat, maybe you share your food instead of taking whole serving, you share. Maybe you share with 2 people or 3 people. All these also are hard to digest food. Okay, you share with people, not that you totally cannot eat. Okay, you share or you eat lesser in frequency. All this also, once a while, if you happy, you eat lah. If not, then you share with people also. Okay, all these are food that will cause disturbances to your digestive system. Because in TCM, we've emphasized a lot on digestive system, because if your digestive system is good, it will absorb all the good things, the nutrients, and will not absorb all the bad things. This is in TCM theory. Okay, this is called what I mean extreme flavor. Not too much salt, not too much sugar, not too spicy, not too hot, not too cold, not too sour. Okay, so for food therapy, like some people say very hard to prepare lah, no time, this and that. Actually, if you Google, you can buy this from Shopee, Lazada, no, this and that. All these are very simple appliances that make your cooking easier and fast free. Not so difficult one. Okay, so example, I would like to recommend this Niu Bang Tang, Niu Bang Zi Bedok. You can buy this from almost all supermarket lah. Okay, some are expensive, some are cheap. You buy the Japanese one, of course, expensive lah. Okay, this Bedok root, right? All I recommend here is mainly soup lah. You can of course improvise yourself. Okay, Niu Bang, okay, you can add fig wu hua guo as a 调味 because wu hua guo is sweet. Okay, you can add some red dates or wolfberry goji zi. Tofu is up to you lah. Then meat 随你. Okay, and then also can add some huaisang also if you want. Okay. And then each corn soup. Some people I know you cook corn soup and then you remove this yellow thing, right? Not yellow thing, the hairy part, right? This hairy part don't remove lah. Just throw it together. You all later the one can use a chopstick to remove them lah. No, to put in the soup and then to turn and remove all this hairy thing. So this hairy thing, right, is actually diuretic. They actually can remove some excess water in your body, and they also, I mean, studies show that they are anti-cancer, anti-cholesterol, anti-many things lah. Okay, so anyway that you don't throw lah. You can eat them if you can eat. Then you can add other things like carrot lah, huaisan lah, cucumber, mushroom, scallop or meat. So what I'm trying to show here is I have tried to make a colorful soup. All the different colors, then okay, 五色. Because in TCM, colors is linked to the different organs. Okay, yeah, different organs, help to nourish your different organs. And then your winter melon soup is also can consider. Winter melon soup, don't throw away the skin, because the skin is the one also helpful. The skin is also anti-inflammatory, and then it's a diuretic, make you lose a bit of water. Then you can add a bit of 无花果, 红枣, almond, and then some meat as protein lah. You can add whatever you want, okay, but the base here is the main important character is actually the winter melon. And then the weight I mentioned just now, right? Yeah, you can try different varieties lah, different varieties. And tonic soup, as mentioned just now, is good for people who are weak, feel tired, feel fatigued, hands cold, leg cold. Okay, yeah, so all these are good because they contain protein, all right, and also a bit of warming herbs inside to warm up your body. Okay, this black bean soup, I mentioned just now, black bean. Okay, you can add a bit of salty black fungus, dried scallop, and then some. This is good, so-called beneficial to nourish your bone marrow and then to improve your kidney function also lah. Yeah, in TCM, okay. And then your lotus root, okay. Lotus root, you can. I know some of you are the lotus root, right? You throw away this part, the ojie, and you know the connection. Don't throw away this because this ojie is one that has medicinal property lah. This one is cooling in the sense that actually, you know, some patients after chemo or not after radiotherapy, right? They sometimes they cough, they may cough blood or sneeze a bit of blood streak, cough too hard blood streak. Actually, this one is 凉血, means cooling the blood for lotus root. Okay, and this is C. You can try this 荞麦茶 buckwheat tea. This buckwheat is the one that make your soba. And then some other teas, I mean, other than 绿茶, you can try all kind of different teas. Okay, you can go and try all kind of different tea. I mean, everyday drink different tea, make you feel good, you know, so that it's not so boring. And chrysanthemum tea, we have different kind of chrysanthemum tea you can try also. And then again, all kind of tea. I like to drink tea lah, so yeah. So I think it's a good form of relaxation. All kind of teas. And then food therapy, barley, green bean, black bean, all these you can use also, can put as a dessert. Okay. And then yeah. Okay, last one. Porridge, the water in 中医, right? We say is very important. It actually helps to nourish your stomach. 胃气 lah, stomach. Yeah. So usually, right, if let's say if you know that after chemo you feel lousy, nausea, vomiting, all this and that, it's always good to drink a bowl, a cup of this we say in dialect you say like yeah, the porridge water, warm you drink. Yeah, then some people also ask them to add this to their ensure meal or this and that if they're not eating well. Yeah, because in Chinese, this porridge water is important. Okay, with that I'll stop lah because my time is up already. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ang. Wow, it's good to know that there is TCM food therapy that we can include to our meals. And definitely a reminder that a balanced diet, exercise, and enough rest and sleep are all very important. Our next speaker today is Ms. Lau Zichin. Ms. Zichin is currently the principal dietitian at Singapore Cancer Society, holding a bachelor's degree in dietetics and a master's in applied geriatrology. She had 15 years of clinical dietetics experience in acute hospital and step-down care. Her interest is in cancer and geriatric nutrition care. She enjoys sharing evidence-based nutrition tips and engaging the public to practice a healthy lifestyle, empowering them to take charge of their health and well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Lau Zichin to share with us on eating well for cancer survivors. Ms. Lau, please.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. And let me share my slide first. Okay, so thank you for having me here and thanks for your introductions. So today I'm going to share a bit about eating well for cancer survivors. So thank you, Mr. Ricky Ant, to share about some foods in TCM perspective just now. So eating well is all about balanced eating. Yeah, so not too much of everything. Yeah, so why is eating well important during and after cancer treatment? Because when you eat well, they make you feel better. You will have the energy and strength to carry out your everyday life, then it can help you to better tolerate the treatment-related side effects. It helps your body to heal and recover faster. It will help you to sustain or improve your immune system and reduce the risk of infections. So when we talk about eating well, right, what does it mean? It means that we have to eat a variety of foods and get the nutrients our body needs to fight cancer. So these nutrients will include proteins, fats, carbohydrates, water, vitamins, minerals, and the phytochemicals inside the natural foods, plants, and fruits. So what is the lifestyle recommendations for cancer preventions and survivalorships? Just now, Mr. Ricky also mentions about maintaining a healthy weight. So it's very important to maintain a healthy weight so that you have the storage of nutrients to fight the cancer. So we will aim for a normal body weight. If you are very underweight or you are really eating not enough until you lost a lot of weight, right, then that will actually weaken your immune system, and then you might probably have some vitamins and mineral deficiencies, and it will further develop disease like anemia, osteoporosis, and will delay your recovery from illness. On the other hand, if you are overweight or obese, especially if your fat is developed at the tummy area, if you have a very wide waistline, then your body will be undergoing a lot of chronic inflammations, and that leads to a lot of chronic disease risk like high cholesterol, hypertension, diabetic, cancer, heart problems, stroke, etc. So talking about eating a healthy diet, right? Just now mentioned already, is eating a balanced diet and want to include a wide varieties of foods in the right amounts to meet your daily requirements. So the pictorial at the right hand side here is a very simple visual guide to guide you on how can you actually plan a balanced diet. So you can see that we can actually divide our food into different food groups. So we have to include all the food groups in our daily diet. So that includes carbohydrates. So carbohydrate actually is the major energy source. So if you totally cut off the carbo from your diet, right, you'll feel very fatigued. So whole grain is better than refined grains. So food sources of carbohydrate is anything that is from grains, from flour. So things like the rice, bread, chapati, dosa, pasta, your noodles, all kinds of noodles, bihun, kway-teow, all of those, balisa, quinoa, corns, those are the carbohydrates. So we want to aim for whole grains because whole grain, there's more fibers, there's more vitamins, minerals, there's more vitamin Bs, there's vitamins E, magnesium, that can work together to help your body burn the energy more efficiently. So because we are eating outside, right? So sometimes it's very difficult to get all the whole grain, but let's try to make at least half of your grains whole grains. And then the next we're looking in at the proteins group. So there's a lot of food sources for proteins, and protein is very important to maintain your muscles. It's a building block for all the body structures, your skin, your hair, your platelets, your blood, your white blood cells, antibodies, all these hormones, your muscles, your bones, is all made from proteins. So it's very important to take enough proteins. Food sources including animal source, like the fish, chickens, eggs, beef, pork, mutton, and there is plant-based proteins. So anything that's from legumes and lentils, all the beans and nuts, red beans, green beans, the black beans, soya beans, tofu, tempeh, all the beans and nuts like walnuts, cashew nuts, all those. And then you have proteins from the milk and dairy product also. So your milk, your yogurt, your cheese, all these are the protein sources. And then there is fruits and vegetables. So the colors, the phytochemicals and some of the vitamins and minerals inside the fruits and vegetables is the one that give these groups the vibrant color. So it's good to mix and match your fruits and vegetables, have a variety, make it colorful. so that you got the wholesome of the nutrients. You have a good mix of the nutrients. So when we talk about right amounts, right? So you look at the pictorial. So our diet for cancer prevention, it is advisable to have more fruits and vegetables. So make half of your plate, right? This is per meal. So make half of your plate full with fruits and vegetables, more vegetables than fruits. And then quarter of your plate, starch, choose more whole grains. And then quarter of your plate, right, is the protein stuff. So we choose more healthier proteins most of the time, the lentils, beans, and the lean meat, the white meat. So fish and chicken, seafood, those are considered white meat. Have more white meat than red meat. And then if you choose the dairy products, right, choose the low fat one so that the saturated fat intake is lesser. Then, of course, we want to choose a minimally processed food with less additive, less added sugars, less added margarine, butters, the colorings, flavorings, seasonings, and everything. Yeah. So, the next guideline is we need to limit the consumptions of red and processed meat. So WHO already announced that red meat and processed meat increase the risk of cancer. So what is considered as processed meat, right, is things like bacons, ham, sausage, lachon, the salted fish, salted eggs, luncheon meats, and all this. So this is cancer causing. So we have to limit or try to avoid the processed meat, and we want to avoid the burnt and charred food. So if you barbecue and after that you burn the meat, or satay, charcoal grill meat, or deep fried food, cooking it in a very high heat, right? Then if let's say it's charred already, they would better avoid those. And then if we're looking at the red meats, right, what considered as red meat is pork, beef, mutton, lamb, horse. These are red meat. Red meat contains important nutrients as well. It's a very good source of proteins, and the iron content, the zinc content, vitamin B's content is quite high. So it has their benefits. We don't need to totally avoid the red meat, but we take in a lesser quantity. Guidelines now is you take less than 500 grams red meat in a week. So how much is that, right? Roughly, if you're looking at your palm size, right, these portions here. Yep, the palm size, these portions here. This roughly is 90 to 100 grams of red meat. So 1 week, take less than 5 times. Yeah, that is still okay. And when you choose the meat, right, we choose the lean meat, not that fatty one, and we cook with lesser, we avoid a lot of, we choose natural food. The natural foods we cook with less heat cooking method. That is okay. But most of the time we choose healthier protein, such as fish, poultry, beans, more often than red meat. Then we want to limit the highly processed foods. They are high in fat, high in starch, high in sodium, high in sugars. So all the foods here, the calories is high, but then the nutrients content is not much. So try to limit it. Doesn't mean that totally cannot eat, but we try to limit it. For the sugars, right, we try, if you can, then try to take no more than 5 teaspoons in a day, up to 10 teaspoons. But if you can, then less than 5 teaspoons will be great. Yeah, when you choose the fats, right, the oil, cooking oils, choose the one that that has lesser saturated fat. So everything's like corn oil, olive oils, the canola oils, sunflower oil, soybeans oil, all these are okay. So limit consumptions of sugar sweetened drinks as well. Same things, because all these sugary drinks, right, the calories content is quite high. So if you take too much, then it leads to obesity, and obesity actually leads to a lot of cancer risk. So try to drink, the best is plain water. If not, then you can actually use some herbs or spices to spice out your drinks. Fruits infused drinks, just cut a slice of lemons, put inside your drinks, or a slice of orange, a slice of watermelon, slice of cucumber to flavor out your drinks, or some flower teas, or some things like the lemongrass teas. Those are actually the good choices. That is lesser in sugars. So coffee and tea, if you can, black coffee is good. If not, then with a dash of low-fat milk inside there. Try to avoid too much creamers, as that is quite high in saturated fat. So the next is to limit the alcohol consumptions, because alcohol is also a known cancer-causing agent. Then I list down some of the cancer here that we already know it is linked to alcohol. So it's best to avoid alcohol, but if you choose to drink alcohol, then take it in moderation. So how much is moderation, right? Look at the pictorial here. So each one represents one standard drink. So 1 can of regular beer is 1 standard drink. A half glass of wine is a standard drink. 1 shot of hard liquors is a standard drink. For female, we want to limit to less than up to 1 standard drinks per day. And for male, we limit it up to 2 standard drinks per day. But if you have the cancers that is listed on top here, it's best to avoid alcohol. So next is stay active, so exercise. Exercise, there's a lot of benefits that it carries. So it helps to strengthen up your muscles, your bones, prevents osteoporosis. It makes your moods better, it prevents depressions, and it can mitigate a lot of chemo or radiotherapies related side effects like brain fog, poor memory, poor focus, and then the neuropathies. Then if you move, then your muscle won't be so tense up. It can reduce down a lot of pain. So the recommendation is 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise every week. You can break it down to like 30 minutes, 5 times a day, and then another 2 days, do some muscle strengthening exercise. If you cannot work, if you're not strong enough, or you don't have time to exercise for like straight 30 minutes, right? Then you can break it down to multiple short sections in a day. But of course, if you already exercise, then continue with it. If you want to start some new exercise programs, right, better check with your doctor first, because everyone have different situations. So check with your doctor first before you start any new exercise program. And you might need to exercise at lower intensity or shorter period when you are on active treatment. If you haven't been exercised, not active before, start slow and then slowly progress when you're getting more fit to avoid some sport injuries. And of course, don't smoke, and then get enough sleep, get enough rest. So just now, I'm very glad that Mr. Ricky already helped me to explain this earlier. So supplements, is it needed? So what is the difference between whole foods and supplements, right? Whole foods contains the whole range of vitamin minerals, is wholesome, so it's best absorbed, and then all this mixture of nutrients actually work together to protect our health. Our body can use it more efficiently. Whereas for supplements, right, because it's an isolated form, so you have like pill of vitamin B's, pill of calcium, pill of irons, and then some other things like curcumin pills and other extracts. So it's an isolated form of nutrients. It may not be absorbed as well by our body. And there's a lot of studies actually found out that high risk of mega dose of supplements, right? Sometimes it's carry risk. For example, if let's say, for example, they already found out that if you are on mega doses of beta carotenes, which is vitamins A, so if you are on mega doses of beta carotenes, then the risk of dying from lung cancer will be higher, and vitamin E pills actually increase the risk of death in all cause or mortality cost. Yeah, so some supplements may contain substances that may affect the effectiveness of some chemo drugs. So if you want to start supplements, discuss with your cancer doctor, oncologist, then they will further advise on what to do. So there's currently no evidence to support taking supplements after cancer diagnosis can reduce risk of recurrence. So when do we need the supplements, right? Is when we do blood tests, then we found out that there's some deficiencies already, like deficiencies of vitamin Bs maybe, or vitamin B12, then doctor will prescribe the supplements, then follow the prescriptions. Or when you are already showing risk of like osteoporosis, or you're on some medications like tamoxifen, that will actually prone to lead to osteoporosis, then doctor might prescribe you some calcium pills, vitamin D pills to prevent the side effects. Yeah. So the best is still practice a balanced diet, get the nutrients from foods. If you're not eating enough, then we will top up with supplements. So how is a cancer survivor diet different from usual eating healthy eating guideline? So however that I spoke before is the healthy eating guidelines that most of people will need to follow that. But if you are a cancer survivor, then the main dietary management, right? The main objective is we need to make sure that you eat enough first. You get the nutrient and calories. This one have to match first. And then we want you to maintain a healthy weight. We want to maintain the muscle mass. We want to prevent or manage the nutritional related side effects. So if you are well, right, then just follow the healthy eating guidelines that we mentioned before. But if you are not eating well, we're having some side effects, or maybe your surgery actually remove some parts of your body, like that involves like intestines, then your diet might need, we might need to tweak your diet slightly to help you better manage the side effects. So maybe doctor will ask you not to eat too much vegetables, or ask you to eat a lot of fatty foods. And that might not sound healthy to you, but then it's necessary. So please follow the recommendations. So for examples, right, if let's say you're on chemo already, or you're on radiotherapy already, and then you really lost your appetite, or cancer itself can also cause loss of appetite, and you keep losing weight, then that time we might ask you to eat a very calorie dense food. They ask you to eat like fried foods, ice creams, cream soups, full cream milk, all this. So, and then if let's say you have like ulcers, then some of the recommendations might be just drink some things that is very cold, take cold drinks, or take ice cream that can actually reduce down the pain. Or if let's say you have like, if you have colon cancer and then just done the surgery to remove your tumor part of your colons, then or chemo and or radiotherapy actually cause a lot of very severe diarrhea, or you have like gas bloated problem, very severe, then instead of asking you to take a lot of fruits and vegetables, take whole grains, right, we might ask you to cut down on the fiber intake. Then cannot eat too much legumes, cannot eat too much whole grains, all those. So that's why you have to follow. So ask your oncologist or dietitians to see if you have any food or dietary restrictions. Yeah. So in my practice, right, a lot of patients will actually ask some concerns. So I list down some common questions here. So they will ask me whether they need to go vegans, because the cancer prevention guidelines actually says that you have to go for plant-based diet. You have to fill up your diet with lots of fruits and vegetables. So they are actually thinking of whether they should totally avoid animal products. So the answer is, right, not necessary. Vegetarian diet actually can be quite healthy. It meets the cancer prevention guidelines, but then it is not proven that the vegetarian diet, total vegetarian diet, is any better than the other diets that meets the cancer prevention diet guideline. So it says that you have to take enough fruits and vegetables, you have to have whole grain in your diet, but then you take mostly plant-based proteins, but including fish, white meats like fish, chicken, seafoods inside your diet, and with a little bit of the red meat is totally fine. Yeah, so not necessary. So a lot of them, they also ask me whether they can eat soya-based food, especially for breast cancer survivors. So current research, right, actually finds there's no harmful effects of eating soya food. And then some soya products in the diet, right, may actually lower the risk of recurrence. So it actually gives the protective effect. So the current, so we are saying that if you are adding 1-2 servings of soya products in your diet is totally fine. So one serving is like a glass of soya milk or a palm size of a piece of tauhua tofu. That is totally okay. But because we don't know, we don't have much data on soya supplements, the extract, because the extract might contain very more, it's higher, the concentrations of the isoflavones and everything can be more concentrated in an extract. So we will ask you all to advise you all to avoid soya supplements, but natural foods is okay in moderation. 1-2 servings a day is totally fine. Yeah, so these are, here I actually list down some of the example for soya products. So soya milk, tofu, tempeh, and the nami sauce, all this is okay. So a lot of them also ask me whether can we still eat sugars? Well, sugar actually causes the cancer cells to grow faster. So sugars, the current evidence, right, actually, it doesn't, it says that sugar intake actually doesn't really directly increase the growth of the tumor or make it worse. But then high sugar things, if you're taking in a big quantity, then the calories is a lot. Then it might promote a weight gain, which weight gain is the one that linked to a lot increasing risk of many cancers. So maintain your weight and then can include a little bit of sugars, no need to be too hard on yourself. Sometimes if you really crave for it or your mood is not good, you want to go for ice kacang, just go for it. But if you can share with other people, reduce down the volume that you're taking, that will be best. So do I need to choose organic food? Another popular questions. So there's currently not enough evidence shows that organic foods actually work any better than in preventing cancer, slowing down the cancer progressions, or reduce down the cancer recurrence. So if you compare the nutrients, right, of organic foods and non-organic foods, it is actually similar. So, and then because government also control on the amount of pesticides and everything that they are using, right? So for now, if you wash your vegetables and fruits thoroughly, you soak your vegetables inside the water, clean water for like 15 minutes, and after that run it down on the running tap for a while, that can remove most of the pesticides and the dirt. Yeah, so not necessary choosing organic foods. So the next is, can drink milk or not? Same things, not enough good evidence to prove that milk and dairy can cause cancer. The only one that have more, that have a little bit more concrete evidence is on prostate cancer. So milk, drinking a lot of milk can slightly increase the risk for prostate cancer, but that is when you are drinking like a lot, like more than 2 liters a day. So basically it's like just drinking milk without taking any water, using milk to replace water, then that might increase the risk of prostate cancer. Otherwise, if you include like 1-2 servings of milk in your diet, and then you choose the low-fat dairy products, that's totally fine. Yeah. Then, can you eat salads or sashimi? So doctor might ask you not to eat. That is because when you are on chemotherapy, so it's only applied when you are on chemotherapies. So when you're on chemotherapies, your immune system will be weakened, and then you will have higher risk of getting an infections. That's why we will usually advise you not to consume raw or uncooked foods that might have some higher level of germs or bacteria there. So it might cause food toxicity and infections if your immune system is lower. So if you are on chemotherapy, you also have to pay attention to some other food safety practice, like before you eat, then you make sure you wash your hand, you make sure the crockeries and everything that you use is clean. And then if you're not sure whether the ice cube is clean, then better don't use ice cube. All these food safety practice have to be in place. But once you complete your chemotherapies and then the blood test shows that your immune system or your white blood cells and everything is at the safer level already, then you can start eating salads and sashimi, raw foods. But of course, this category of food is still the one that have higher risk to cause contaminations or food toxicities. So make sure you choose the fresh one and then you wash the raw foods thoroughly before you eat. Yeah. So that's all from me today. Thank you very much. I would like to introduce the team that I'm working together in Singapore Cancer Society. This is the rehab teams, and we have multidisciplinary teams. We have doctor, we have physiotherapists, occupational therapists, we have lymphedema therapists. And this is our office in GEM Tower, Jurong East. Yeah, we have a very nice view here, and we have a good gym. So if you need some cancer rehab, then you can contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. La, for the informative sharing. We should all practice eating healthily. Definitely a balanced diet, exercising, having enough sleep and rest are all very important to maintain good health. We hope that you find these talks useful in helping you manage life after cancer, and I'm sure that they are also very useful for anyone in general for good health. A patient's quality of life is often a key component in the patient's cancer journey. While patients may receive support from friends, family, colleagues, but participating in patient support program improves quality of life. It helps patients and survivors feel hopeful and know that they are not alone. Next, we'll share a short video showcasing the various support programs offered by the National Cancer Centre Singapore and IAN Society.
Like many community organizations in Singapore, we too had to adapt during the COVID-19 pandemic due to the restrictions. For example, we use Zoom as a way to connect to our clients virtually for a virtual support group program to replace the in-person support group programs we did previously at our center. Also, we ensured that clients who are in need of more assistance, such as food rations, did receive their supply of food rations throughout the pandemic through our dedicated staff who carried out contactless delivery. Also, we had psycho-education programs on Facebook Live as well. We were also very fortunate to have members of the public who were generous in their donations to provide us enough funds to start an initiative to allow us to extend further financial aid to clients who were more impacted during the pandemic.
In 2020, I was going through my chemotherapy. At that time, during the chemotherapy, I started to feel anxious, lonely, and there are so many questions that I have. So I joined Iron Society. I joined their virtual support groups, and where they actually provide a platform for me to be able to release my frustrations, my anxieties, my fears, and at the same time provide me with all the questions that I need. And it makes me very motivated and happy to be meeting so many friends and people who are actually in the same situation as me.
During this pandemic period is a really hard time for me, and officers called me almost every day to check on my daily routines because I still have to go for my follow-up checkup. My health is still not that good, and they really helped me emotionally and financially.
Wow, it's really heartwarming to know that there is good support for cancer patients. And we hear how the officers actually call daily to check back on them and also provided different areas of support, which are also very important, and also public support as well. So if you'd like to volunteer with us for the program to support the cancer patients, please contact us at 6225-5655. That's 6225-5655. We hope you have enjoyed today's program. Your feedback is valuable to us. Please let us know how we can better organize the event by completing the feedback form. The link will appear immediately when you leave this webinar. We've come to the end of this virtual celebration and would like to thank Prof. William Huang, Chief Executive Officer, National Cancer Center Singapore, and our valued speakers for the day, Dr. Lee Gun Wee, Mr. Ricky Ang, and Ms. Lau Zichin, and also all the survivors who have shared their stories, and all of you here who have spent your Saturday morning with us. We look forward to your support and participation in our future events. Once again, I am Po Fong. Thank you and have a lovely weekend ahead. Take care and stay safe.